Welcome back to the channel. I want to talk about something that is on my mind. I've talked about this a little bit in the past, and I think it's just as meaningful now as at any time. And I think if I can explain this well, a lot of these ideas are things that I have almost in my unconscious, and I find when I try to put them into words, sometimes they're not as clear as I feel like they are, and that might be the case with this one. But I think if you can understand what I'm going to try to say, I think you're going to be a lot better off than a lot of people. I don't think the average person has thought this idea through, and I think if you can just grasp some understanding of this, you're going to be a lot better off. And this really has to do with this fancy word called induction, and it's basically looking to the past to predict the future. And there is a way to do this. There's a way to look to the past to predict the future that I think is good. And there's a way to look to the past to predict the future that I think is very flawed. I hear people say things like, Bitcoin's dropped over 80% almost every bear run, and less than 90% most bear runs. So we should expect in the future Bitcoin to drop in the bear run between 80 and 90%. That's what people expect. 83% is a common number thrown out. I would say when I'm trying to create explanations for what I think will happen, that is an explanation that, left as I just stated, is an example of a bad explanation. Just because something has happened in the past, in my mind, does not mean that it will happen in the future. And I want to be one of those people that is right when other people are wrong. I want to have good explanations that are different than everyone else's. That's where I have a lot of opportunity. I do not want to fall for bad explanations. And I think that's an example of an inductive argument. What I think someone should do, if they want to use the past to understand the future and make good decisions for the future, using Bitcoin as an example, they can notice that pattern of, let's say, 83% drops in bear runs. I think they should ask themselves, what's the reason that Bitcoin dropped that much? And is that reason applicable today? One of the reasons that I think someone might argue, this is what comes to my mind, for whatever reason, I think 80-something% is a psychological bottom in people's minds. That's the point where emotionally, the people that are going to hold, if they're going to hold through an 83% drop, they're going to hold, period. And you've basically cleaned the market out. And I think it's a lot of trading in crypto that I think is very psychological, and I would think, at least on my mind, that is a potentially valuable explanation for why crypto dropped 83%. And why it may actually do it again. But it's not going to do it again just because it did it in the past. That is not an explanation. I hope that even just saying that sounds dumb to you. It's done this before, so it's going to do it again. What? No. There's this story that I told in one of my older videos. I can't remember exactly what I called it, but something like "Don't be the Thanksgiving turkey." And I think it's a great story showing the problems of induction. You just think of the turkey being fed for however long turkeys live, let's just say 100 days. And every day the farmer is bringing the turkey food, feeding the turkey. The turkey's living a great life. By induction, every day the farmer brings the turkey food, he should be more sure that the next day the farmer will bring the turkey food. If the turkey is falling for the problem of induction, and only more and more confident every day the farmer brings him food, he will never take into account the fact the farmer is feeding him to put him on his table for Thanksgiving. We do not want to be the Thanksgiving turkey. We have the ability to create explanations in a way that turkeys do not. And we don't have to fall for the problem of induction. We want to be, if we were this turkey, we want to be thinking, why is the farmer feeding us food? And will he continue to do this? What's the incentive? What's the motive here? Let's create an actual explanation so that when things turn, we've hopped the coop or whatever, and we're free and we reaped the benefits and not the drawback. And this is on my mind. I think people don't think enough, and there's people are so capable of creating good explanations. Like there's really not very many other things in this universe that are capable of creating explanations besides humans. And for some reason, humans don't like to think. They don't like to create good explanations. But the people that can, the people that do and are right, because you can create bad explanations too. The people that are right are the ones that have a lot to show for it. And you want to be, of course, this is another side of it. You want to be very careful countering the common narrative. The common narrative is usually right. But if you want to beat the average person at something, if you want to have more income, you want to play the crypto market in a way that you have better returns than someone else, I would argue you need better explanations. For example, it's a way to play the game better. And while you should take into account very carefully ever countering what the average of the market, the whole market together is deciding, if you want to beat it, you can't beat it without a better explanation for example, what the value of something is. And I don't think that, I guess the longer I'm in crypto, the longer I'm living, the more I value explanations, the more I'm very hesitant to listen to explanations like I gave you. Even things like technical analysis are potentially dangerous because they are very inductive. I think technical analysis can work, but it's a lot better if you understand the reason why. Why is RSI, bouncing higher over time a sign of potentially higher price? It's the why behind it that I think will give you an advantage, that will give you a lot more confidence in your trading and when you should actually buy and when you should actually do something. Why is that resistance? Why was price bouncing on this resistance level now below it and not going above it? Like, if you can answer and have an explanation for why these things are, I think you'll be more prepared and you'll do better. And I think explanations are important. I think induction is a problem people fall into, and I don't want you guys to, and I don't want myself to too quickly fall into the downsides of induction. And like I said, looking to the past is very valuable, but there's a good way to do it. Another thing I think that's good is looking to the past price and seeing it as objective. That past price did react that way that time. You can be confident of that. Use that to create a good explanation. Don't use that without an explanation to just say that automatically it's going to happen again, because you're going to be right until you're wrong, and you won't know when you're wrong. It's going to work until it doesn't. You want to be in the position that when it stops working, you're one of the few people that sees it. And the way that you're going to be that person, not waiting for food when the farmer comes for an axe, if you have a real explanation for what's going on. Anyway, guys, this is on my mind. Short vid. Hope this is helpful. Talk to you later.